And we're live. Looking at Sunspot 2740 and Sunspot 2741 on the colored magnetogram. I'm going to give you 1 minute lead time to join the live chat, and then I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. We see a new sunspot just formed. Sunspot 2741. Now, yesterday it looked like we were going to get some reverse polarity going on with Sunspot 2740, but that kind of evaporated. It actually lost complexity. However, the corona emitted a whole bunch of 245 megahertz radio bursts, and we also see some more activity going on over here. More areas that could form into sunspots, and we see a large plasma bridge coming out of the sun right now. We'll get to it in a moment. First, we'd like to thank the SMASho team for joining, whether you're in the live stream or if you joined later. And we also thank you for knowing the difference between your ass and a hole in the ground. Probably part of the reason you watch our videos. And for that, we thank you. Let's talk bikes. If you're a prepper and you don't have a bicycle that works, well, I suggest you get one. How about a multi-speed urban commuter? These are super versatile. They work great as road bikes. They work okay as mountain bikes. A lot of different options there. Here's one for under 500 bucks. How about the Versa Speed 50? It's got a Shimano drivetrain. This thing will go a long time without maintenance, folks. theveloshop.net. Also, please visit the links below the description and get yourself a Nextdoor.com account. Nextdoor.com allows you to network your neighborhood together. I'm the lead for our neighborhood because we didn't have one where I'm located until I created it. Nancy Pelosi likes it. Maybe you ought to also. Again, check out the links in the description. There are a lot of ways to fund the cycling for 2019. In fact, if you want to sponsor the whole team, The Velo Shop, please email me at smashomash@gmail.com. Thanks, donors. You have no idea what a difference you're making. And thanks to our patron who increased the monthly contribution. So thanks there. You've also started a nonprofit organization. Going to be making your donations tax deductible by the end of the year. That will be our New Year's Eve celebration. And here's the mission. It's to study, assist, and report on the ongoing formation of a unified theory of physics. Also to raise the awareness of the general public of the relationship between space weather and Earth effects, as the sun controls the Earth's weather. We're even trying to figure out how the sun works. It's kind of important, as the sun is the Rosetta Stone of the rest of cosmology. We're also connecting and consulting with media organizations to multiply our reach. And we are in active talks with a bunch of our endorsed channels. So check out youtube.com/smashomash/channels for all the channels that we endorse and collaborate with on a regular basis in some instances. We're also demonstrating cutting-edge proof-of-concept solutions to problems, such as growing indoor tomatoes over the winter and optimizing the use of other plants of opportunity. Yes, plants of opportunity. That's my official planting model. Although we are doing some more mainstream style planting also this year, something I've never done before. We're also going to publish scientific papers in a multidisciplinary manner. There are already 3 in the works, and I won't be able to tell you too much about those until they are drafted. And you, the viewer, is also drafted to understand sciences such as spectroscopy, chemistry, astrophysics, health, wellness, longevity, cosmology, biology, magnetohydrodynamics, geology, etc. So we'll be publishing in those sciences. However, we will not be limited to those sciences or limited to anything else. We'll also assist mankind by advancing the study of predictive phenomenon in order to optimize value, reduce risk and liability, save lives and resources, and adapt no matter what the adversity is. And lastly, to not be ossified in our beliefs, and to treat those who are with love, respect, and inclusion to the scientific discussion. Anyway, again, please visit the links in the description underneath the video and help support the channel in any way you can, especially by getting us more subscribers, views, etc. We are still not at 1,400 subscribers, folks. So we are endorsed by a lot of channels. If you are out there sharing our videos any place on social media, please leave a comment. Please leave a comment just to leave a comment. And don't forget to press like, as I'm told the algorithms have recently changed. So you are all a member of the SMASH team, and let's look at the real-time solar wind. Very low density, down at 2.8 protons per cubic centimeter, and the solar wind speed is dipping also at 343 kilometers per second. Very weak solar wind, very weak. Let's look at spaceweather.com, talking about the big radio bursts that happened yesterday. So this caused some brownouts and blackouts for certain radio communications. There's also a solar flare movie of this M-class solar flare available at spaceweather.com. I would also note that the 10.7 centimeter radio flux has gone back up to 76. So well above estimates. I mean, predicted values here, as you can see. Predicted values are located in red. And our actual value is more like here. So some interesting data points, folks. Keep in mind, we are not seeing cycle 25 behavior. There was some hint of it happening in yesterday's Sunspot evolution, I'll say. But that leading umbra kind of evaporated and reduced that sunspot in complexity. Let's look at some more data at spaceweathernews.com. As just after our video yesterday, we saw 3 C-class flares, and then another higher class C flare, this C9 right here. And this one here actually seemed to emit some ejecta, which NOAA is currently stating is expect it to miss the Earth to the northeast. So we're going to look at stereo A in a minute. First, let's look at the rest of the data here. And I would recommend that you folks don't put your underwear on backwards. Because I actually did put my underwear on backwards. Anyway, there's the magnetometer. KP is at 2. And we're going to look at the magnetic environment in a minute, as that sunspot is greatly affecting the magnetic environment of the corona and indeed the interplanetary magnetic field, otherwise known as the sun's B field. We're going to look right at it in a minute. There's the electron flux, which is surprisingly low, considering the weak solar wind. We surprisingly see a little charging hazard there over Central America, but very weak, no big deal. And the F2 layer is looking a little on the discharge side. A little discharge on both the sun and the night side. Here's your aurora forecasts, and they're looking pretty dim also. Next, we'll look at the GOES X-ray imager, as we saw a bunch of flares. Let the date stamps show here. This is yesterday. And you can see a bunch of X-ray flares crackling out of that sunspot 2740. And a little activity coming out of 2741 also. I'm not sure if those are the X-ray flares. I think all of the detected flares on those graphs there are from 2740, I believe. So keeping an eye on 2741. And we're going to look at it much more closely. Here's the visible. And 2741 is actually a larger sunspot than 2740. Check it out. You can see it just rising there. A great profile view of it. Can't really get any more zoomed in than that, folks, but great profile view. We're going to look at more views of that on the SDO at the end of the video. We are way zoomed in. If you'd like to get alerts so you know about this stuff immediately, check out the Space Weather Enthusiast dashboard page. Excuse me. Scroll down to the bottom, and there are a lot of products and data for you to peruse if you like. Again, there's a 10.7 centimeter radio flux. We are above predicted values, folks. So it looks like cycle 24 continues on. And we'll look at total electron content. We don't expect to see anything too spectacular here, as everything seems to be corroborating. And we like corroborating data. We don't like conflicting bizarro world data that makes no sense. Anyway, there's that. Not a lot of GPS errors today. Now, here's the gong 2. And you can see what those sunspots are doing to the B field. It looks practically square-shaped over there. So we're going to see some magnetic perturbations here associated with these sunspots. They are large sunspots. And they will be holding back the B field. And they will be increasing the transitional torque between a sunspot and a coronal hole. So, coronal hole watch in effect. And we did see the 7 magnitude earthquake drought end also. So, stay tuned for a lot more stuff, folks. This live stream continues. We'll look at the ecliptic field plane. Top view ecliptic plane field plot, as we do most days. You're going to see some big pushes and pulls going on here with these fields. And it looks like the polarity flip is accelerating. See that North Pole associated field is kind of being slung around by those sunspots. So I guess let's look at the synoptic field plot also. And you can see a little bit of a better idea of what's going on with the B field there. The B field, again, noted in blue, happens to be the field in which you live. So anyway, there it is again from the line of sight field plot. And let's look at the regions on solar ham. Here you got a nice close-up of sunspot 2741 as it rises into view. This is an alpha class. It's only got one main umbral field. And as you can see with the polarity orientation, that is a cycle 24 sunspot all day. Here's 2740, which has lost a little bit of complexity here, and it still has a bit of a weird orientation. It essentially looks like this sunspot is moving a little faster as it is closer to the equator than this opposite field here. So, I mean, that's how it's getting its data designation, its beta designation rather. And I would note that yesterday this umbra was a little bit more in front of this. This isn't really. This is still a cycle 24 sunspot. There was some indication yesterday that it may end up with a opposite polarity leading umbral orientation there, but that didn't really happen. Anyway, that flare is a C9.9. And so this is a heightened level of activity here. And let's move on. We don't want this to be too long. So here's what I was talking about earlier. There's a giant ongoing coronal mass ejection occurring here, and it's not through yet. It hasn't really ejected. So this is prime time to be to have your eye on those solar flares, those X-ray flares, that is, as that would be an indication when this thing is going to release, if it's going to release. Now, this is the newest data we can get, believe it or not, folks. It looks like the last bit of this data isn't there yet. No comment on whether it usually is or not. So this plasma could already be blasted out by now. See, the final date stamp here is on the 6th. So this is very old data. And there are the final frames. Not sure if that's ejecting or not. We're going to try to get different data on this. This is not usually necessary. Let's just see if that does anything. Nope, that's the latest data we see. And that looks like a large bit of ejecta there. So this is something to watch throughout the day. This is located at ISWA This link is in the description of the video, I believe. And on that note, let's bring out the chat. It looks like there is a large CME, folks. It just doesn't look like it's fully ejected yet, or it's not reflected in the data, or possibly both. So anyway, thanks for joining, everybody. Dakota, Harry, and Eric. Thank you for leaving comments. Here's what's going on in the sky above my head. As Earth creeps up on the gas giants, they're visible in the morning sky if it's clear enough. So go have a look at the ecliptic if you get up before sunrise. You should be able to see Jupiter and Saturn out there. Here are the locations of stuff. Let's advance it 1 week. And there's where stuff will be in 1 week. Here's some more stuff. Magnetosphere movies, courtesy of U, Michigan. Dear U, Michigan, we play your model every morning in these daily space weather videos. And sometimes the computer doesn't even try to crash. Try that again. Here's the velocity. We are looking at the Earth, folks. If you weren't aware, this is the magnetosphere. It's kind of important in your daily activities. This is the lens by which solar radiation, and oh snap, we are getting housed. All right, let's kill Winamp first, as it's fairly memory intensive. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I do have about 47 tabs open, 2 different browsers, a screen write over tool, and live streaming. So I guess it's fairly system intensive. Speaking of systems, I will be upgrading it. And man, we see some oddities there in the density. And this computer is just asking to crash. And there goes Brave. Captain, we're not sure if she's going to hold together, Captain. Captain, is she still broadcasting, Captain? Gonna have to. Oh man, we're losing settings. Brave browser is toast. All right, let's go to the chat. Howdy from Iowa. Nice. Eric Rader, wanting my opinion. Valentina Zarkova and Diamond is now warning that the grand solar minimum is going to happen. Do you think their warning has credibility? I think mostly everybody thinks the grand solar minimum is going to happen, but that we have another cycle similar to that of cycle 24 ahead of us. All right, let's see if I can salvage Brave browser. As it looks like this stream is still live. Can anybody comment and note whether or not this is functioning? Looks like it's working to me. Yes, please smash that like button, folks. All right, we're going to close down Brave. We're going to reopen Brave and it's going to work fine. You watch. Thank you, Harry, for pushing our page harder than a meth dealer pushing meth. We might even get to 1,400 subscribers one of these days. And let's go back to these anomalies on the density. Okay, that's a low density solar wind coming in there. Nothing to write home about, folks. That's just that low density solar wind that we see. Nothing to get bunchy panties over. As the magnetospheric density remains in place with that navy blue line on the bow shock. Lastly, we've got pressure, and it's going to be very low. As again, we have a very low wind speed and density, so you could equate the pressure. And there you have it. Everything looking pretty normal as expected, folks. We are expecting to see a little bit of a propensity for discharge on the nighttime side and a propensity for charge incoming on the daytime side. In fact, as reflected in the F2 ionosphere movie, we're just discharged on both sides. And again, we like when the data is current and corroborative. How about some ground perturbations? We're going to get the music back up in a moment here once we get to the sound click page. If you'd like to play your own, head to soundclick.com/goldencap productions. And the original music is indeed in there. Some tracks available for purchase for 99 cents. Here's the ground perturbations. Looking down the Earth's Z fields. And we saw some activity in the first half of the movie, and the last half it looks like it's dropping off, as did the solar wind speed and density. So this is 4 hours of data, and we archive this each morning in these videos. If you've got some kind of phenomenon that you think ties together with these, for instance, go back to our video from that day, and you should be able to find this. I'm not sure what timing. We do visit the tabs in a bit of a different order depending on what's going on. But the data should be there. We're going to skip cosmic rays. We covered it yesterday. And if you're interested in seeing it, check yesterday's video. It is an hour long. But there's some content that will not be in today's. This site is in today's and yesterday's. The Galaxy Zoo project at zooniverse.org. Largest citizen science project in the world. And my voice is giving out. Anyway, visit that and help us classify some galaxies. About 6 million to go, which I think is about 80% complete. Also, join us on Facebook if you like being censored and shadow banned and outright banned and depersoned and deplatformed. Make sure you visit Facebook, as they are censoring you in ways that you probably aren't even aware, as well as helping out countries like China institute social credit systems. Facebook uses chiefly algorithms, and I've got some opinions on those. Consider this a punchline. So I'm not really a fan of Facebook's algorithms. I don't think they're very objective, and pretty sure Facebook was trying to get Hillary Clinton elected. I'm not sure there. Just saying. How did that work out for you, Mark? Anyway, Facebook algorithms, they're less than optimal. When I started writing code, it was about 1985, and all of our code worked. Check us out on Twitter. I don't tweet, but you can find the videos there. Also on Instagram. More personal stuff, screwing around, as well as giving pro driving tips. So check us out there also if you like. Yeah. Instagram.com/smAsho. Also on minds.com, the social media site that will not censor you, will not shadow ban you or outright ban you, and will give you the opportunity to earn crypto if you get a lot of views. We don't have that many views, only 444,619, and only 703 subscribers. So join us there. A lot of your YouTube favorites are there as well. So minds.com. Real free speech on the internet, give or take. You could get banned if you really did something really stupid, but also check out some of the fresh tracks on the SoundCloud account. There's a URL. It's also in the description. So just click the description instead. Visit all of our links, such as soundclick.com/goldencatproductions. This song's only $1.25. Add it to your MP3 collection. This is the latest upload called Gem Cutter. And we play this one regularly on the videos. All right, we had a little bass problem there. I had to do some volume adjustments. Now, we saw a large earthquake, 7.2 magnitude. No apparent tsunami from that, so that's a good thing. It was at about 85 kilometers. Let's look at the rest. Here's a 4.4 in Japan. Here's a 4.8 in New Zealand. Here's a 5.4 north of Ascension Island. 5.5 of Papua New Guinea. 4.9 Bangladesh. 4.9 Yemen, as the Middle East earthquakes continue. 5.0 also at Ascension. Here's a deep quake at Fiji, nearly 500 kilometers. Heads up Fiji and New Zealand. Here's that 7.2. So finally, the 7 magnitude earthquake drought ended at Papua New Guinea. The bad news is that it's at over 100 kilometers depth. 126.9 kilometers depth, folks. Not good news, and not the end of their large quakes. In fact, an indication that they're going to get a larger quake at the surface. Heads up Papua New Guinea. When solar activity drops back down again and there's a coronal hole connection, look out, because it's happening. Again, at 126.9 kilometers. Watch out for low pressure systems, folks. Shout out Papua New Guinea. Please leave a comment. If you stayed tuned as this video almost completely crashed and we brought it back like Scotty. All right. Here's a 4.6 at the Philippines, as there's been a swarm there recently as well. There was a 4.4 in the Aleutians also, and there's a 5.0 at depth at Vanuatu. Another portender of a larger quake at the surface, folks. Panama with a 4.4. 4.6 at the West Chile Rise, way out in the Pacific. Here's a 5.2 south of Kamchatka, and a 4.8 at Indonesia at depth. large earthquake drought continues, folks. Have a plan. Be an asset, not a liability. When the you-know-what hits the you-know-what. Because you are the cavalry. You are the cavalry. Be a Minuteman. Let's look at pressure maps. Especially in this area. As we see anomalous weather. Let's let this play. Watch what all these low pressure systems do, folks. They're going to go the wrong direction. Just standing still for days. Normally these things move west to east, but they're just standing still. So be ready for larger earthquakes, folks. Check out this low right here. This low right here is just moving south instead of moving east. Let's let it keep playing. Maybe through the weekend. Fiji and Tonga. Man, oh man. Funky weather systems, folks. Now that's just a forecast, but we do see a low over Alaska right now. We also do see a series of lows over northeastern Canada and over the Atlantic. Let's just see how those play out. We're going to get to Texas getting battered once again in just a minute. We'll do the standard close-ups. Anyway, there's the forecast, and there's going to be a persistent low over the Oklahoma Panhandle there. And it's not looking good for the central U.S. Planting is continuing to be delayed, and crop losses are mounting around the world. Let's look at volcanoes. Volcano rundown. I'm going to try to pronounce all the volcanoes while speaking very fast. And you saw me click on it, right, folks? Did you see me click on it? I clearly clicked on it. Is the browser going to crash again? The browser is going to crash. That's my forecast. Browser crash. There we go. All right. Nice. Karimsky, producing an 8,000-foot ash plume. Don't pole vault over that. Shivaluch with a 13,000-foot ash plume. Don't do a handspring over that. Sakurajima back on the list with a 7,000-foot explosion. Don't try to drop an M80 in there. Cinnabung back on the list. Cinnabung is a pretty crazy volcano, folks. Explosive activity continues there, producing a 15,000-foot ash plume. Please don't throw mama from ash plume. Tokono, 7,000-foot plume there. Mount Agung scares the crap out of me from halfway around the world. Produces a 17,000-foot ash plume. Sabancaya, continuous emissions. And Planchon Petaroa, continuous emissions. If you think those volcanoes are warming the planet, folks, I don't know what to tell you. They're not warming the planet. They're colding the planet. Let's make sure this is refreshed as we look at AccuWeather.com's National Doppler Radar. Missouri getting hammered, as well as Kansas. Shout out Kansas and Missouri. Do you know where Toto is right now? Let's zoom in on that mess. As Texas, the entire state, has a severe thunderstorm warning, according to National Weather Service. This is a rotating low pressure here. This thing is probably got tornadoes nested in it around these areas, northwest corners of these spots. Man, those are nasty. Let's take a closer look. Producing quite a bit of lightning. Shout out Wichita. I think you're going to be clear for a while, Wichita. West Plains, lightning striking you right now. Shout out to West Plains, Missouri. Anyway, lightningmaps.org. If you ain't got it, put it in your favorites. Seriously, put it in your favorites. Look at the water vapor map here. Thanks to the NASA GOES interactive weather satellites. Wow. We got serious. I'm sure there's hail coming down there, folks. If you got a basement, get in it. Damn. The good news is it looks like it'll be fairly short-lived. Let's do the zoomed out view. For everybody else in the U.S., if we have international viewers, leave a comment if you would like your weather covered also, as we will consider it. Anyway, there's what's going on in the rest of the water vapor map, folks. And we sincerely hope it's not snowing where you are, especially if you're trying to plant a garden. As it is not light out yet, we're going to look at the shortwave radiation map. Only of this area. As this gives us some idea of what the cloud layer is looking like, even at nighttime. So the water vapor map shows us water vapor. And this one also shows us, well, radiation. Anyway, it's a different instrument measuring shortwave radiation here at the resolution of 3.9 nanometers. This is what we use to see things like fog at nighttime. And not a lot of detail on this one, although I would note a ton of streamers in this convergence zone. You can see clear Hall current lines off of these, looking a bit like a toothbrush. Toothbrush in the sky, folks. Toothbrush in the sky. Texas, severe thunderstorm warning for the entire state. Boy, that's a lot of detail, National Weather Service. What do we have here? It's not even reflected on the key. No idea what that means. Red flag warning. Red flag warning all over southern New Mexico. Flood warnings all around Kansas and Missouri, as well as flash flood warnings. We even see, I believe those are winter weather advisories. Frost advisories in northern Michigan. Shout out anybody who's got crops that are delayed. We just planted a bunch of Jerusalem artichokes yesterday, and we are stoked about it. We're going to do a video about gardening momentarily. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. No promises. Subscribe to the channel and press that notification link. Otherwise, you might not be able to tune into these live streams. You might not see anything that we're doing, and you might not see it even if you click the link. But if you don't click the link, and that is the notification bell on the YouTube page. Global warming update. Greenland, it's got 185.2 inches of snow from coast to coast. It's not melting at all. So I would note that the planet is so hot that Greenland is covered with over 9 feet of snow. Let's look at the sea ice and thickness just to make sure that the North Pole isn't completely just melted. And yeah, looks like quite a bit of ice. In fact, I see a lot of areas, such as here and here, where it's all the way at the 5-meter portion. As you can see, it goes from red back to white and pink. So there's actually 5 meters of ice or more north of Greenland, up here in the northern Canada. And anyway, there's your sea ice thickness and extent update. Ugh. Let's look at economic data. As we saw a market crash yesterday, and markets poised to drop again today, folks. So we saw a bit of a sell-off yesterday. A lot of things not priced into the market, in my opinion. Keep in mind, I am not currently a licensed investment advisor, although I was a day trader / swing trader for you technical jargon type folks. Day trader / swing trader, if you know what that means. And I was an insurance agent, also licensed in 49 states. Now, I got out of the financial services industry because it's about as crooked as it gets, second perhaps only to politics. Anyway, let's look at the NASDAQ and the Dow. How about a 1-year chart? There you go. You think all those crop losses are figured into that, folks? We're not trying to crash the stock market here. We're just trying to make obvious and cast light on the obvious economic bubble. For those of you who think you understand economics, if you think tariffs are good in any way, well, you're wrong. For every U.S. employee who manufactures steel or aluminum, there are 43 U.S. employees who use steel or aluminum in their line of work. And what does that mean? Well, what that means is that the only effect tariffs have is raising your prices. So as the government attempts to spend $2.1 trillion on a stimulus package, threatening massive inflation as a result. I don't know where I was going with this, but anyway. Let's look at also the Dow. And the futures are, I believe, down 66. Yep. No, down 66 at the end of yesterday's trading there. Here's the 1-day chart. Wait a minute. Oh, there we go. So it opened quite low yesterday, and then it rallied back most of its losses. So that's a good thing for most people's 401ks. A better thing for your 401k would probably be to diversify out of U.S. equities. Again, not licensed to give out investment advice, folks, just citing obvious trends. Now, we're also going to look at some commodities here. In fact, let's look at crypto first, as some people think that crypto is an inverse proportion to the U.S. dollar index. I'm not going to comment on whether I think that or not. Actually, yes, I am. I don't think it's an inverse proportion of the U.S. dollar index. Here's the Bitcoin. And that is the one-year chart. So it has actually been rallying quite a bit beginning in February. I'll also look at Ethereum, as this is associated with Minds.com. We'll look at the Coinbase quotes. And there's the 1 year. And this does similarly follow Bitcoin. I'm not a big crypto investor or believer. However, it is a speculative investment. Now, we saw a bit of a rally in the bond market yesterday. See the bond rates are down, indicating a rally. So some people are betting on the US dollar. So it's surprisingly up. And let's look at the US dollar here. Here's the 1 year chart. And this is a reason to oppose the $2.1 trillion stimulus package, as there is a lot of welfare and graft and nonsense in the bill. Have I read it? Nope. But a bill that big is full of graft and nonsense and waste and fraud and abuse. Let's look at oil. There's a 1 year of oil. And we're going to look at silver and gold also. And we're going to shut the music down because this stream is all but over. Here's gold. Pretty much just in a trading range there for the 1 year. And considering buying silver at these rates myself. So $14.88. I would also note that this channel called the low at 14 bucks. Just saying. If you go back and look at the video from around those days, I was telling you to buy it at 14 bucks. Now, I'm a huge fan of silver. It was at approximately $50 in 2011. Actually, I'm not really a fan. That would make me fanatical. I'm not fanatical about anything. So I would say to you, the viewer, de oppresso liber, which translates to from the oppressed, the free. Let's look at more views of the sun. And chat with our live stream viewers. I don't know what kind of scary stuff I'm going to find in those comments. I'm a little scared to look, but I'll be brave. Yeah, space weather and road bikes from Reno. Nice. Space weather and road bikes from Reno. Cheers. That's a desolate place to be on a road bike, no? I'll bet there's more tractor trailers than bikes up there. Oh no. Robert Kenneth Gitcher. You got a discharge on your nighttime side, huh? It sounds like a personal problem. Sounds a little too personal. Morning things are getting exciting, Das Velo? Please elaborate. Is there significance to 2740 reappearing? That it went all the way around the sun, I think 3 times now, actually. That's significant. All right, we're going to look at some more views here, especially the intensity gram, because we'll get a great image of this rising sunspot here, 2741. It's big. It's a little closer to the equator. It fits right into the butterfly graph of cycle 24. If you're not familiar with the butterfly diagram, just go to duckduckgo.com and do a search, a web search for sunspot butterfly diagram. What I'm talking about is the fact that sunspots get closer to the solar equator at time of solar minimum. So we see less sunspots, and we see sunspots at lower latitudes. So we're seeing a little uptick here again, the 10.7 centimeter radial flux back to 76. Way above guesstimates. And let's break out the 94 angstroms view, as there should be some flaring visible on the view. Speaking of the view, don't watch it. It's terrible. And although it is kind of funny, I guess I should probably maybe do clips from it. I will not be able to do a Joy Behar impersonation. Yeah, I don't know about what's going on where you're at, Das Velo. I don't know where you're located, but man, plants are just exploding out of the ground where I am because of the late spring, I think. I mean, things are coming up. Plants are coming up practically fully formed straight out of the ground. It's pretty intense. I like the way you think, Thomas Schrader. And on that note, we are out of here. So thanks for tuning in, folks. Thanks, donors. As the operation continues to evolve, please help us to get to 1,400 subscribers. Share on your social media. Man, that's a great view right there at 94 angstroms. Check it out. Good morning and good day. We're probably going to produce another video sometime today. Stay tuned for that. Remember, when you're staring at the sun in 94 angstroms, don't drink it. If you drink, stare at the sun in 94 angstroms. It is awesome. Just don't drive. And may the solar wind be at your back and the atherosclerosis absent from your veins.